Think about the last time you stayed up past midnight scrolling through a feed, bought something on impulse from a targeted ad, or replied to a work email at 10 p.m. You likely feel these were independent choices, but external systems are often steering that behavior. Historical manipulation relied on loud, obvious propaganda. Today, the tactics are silent. We live inside an ecosystem of personalized, invisible nudges operating 24 hours a day. They are specifically engineered to bypass your logic and target your forum internum, the academic term for the deeply private, protected space of your inner mind and thoughts. The engine driving this is a massive information asymmetry. Information asymmetry occurs when one party in a transaction has vastly more data and predictive knowledge than the other. Tech giants hold deeply granular profiles on how you think and feel, while you interact with their platforms blind to the mechanics steering your next click. Every interaction feeds a system designed to extract your cognitive autonomy. To understand how to push back against this constant mining of your attention, we have to look at the specific psychological mechanics used to steer your choices. The physical devices in our hands use behavioral psychology to force impulsive actions. The pull to refresh feature, for example, mimics the intermittent reinforcement of a casino slot machine. Intermittent reinforcement is a psychological conditioning mechanism where a reward is delivered at random intervals, creating a spike of dopamine that forms a compulsive dependency. This dependency is sustained by dark patterns. Dark patterns are deceptive user interface architectures designed to exhaust your willpower and trick you into taking actions that benefit the company at the cost of your privacy or money. Take a look at this wireframe of a common app pop-up. This tactic is called confirm shaming. Notice how the no button uses humiliating language, like no, I prefer to pay full price, or no, I don't care about protecting my family. Another variation is safety blackmail, which uses exaggerated security warnings to scare you into handing over personal data, like your phone number. These specific UI choices are built to paralyze your brain's system 2, the slow analytical logic center. By inducing mild panic or social guilt, the design forces you to rely on System 1, which drives fast, fear-based reflexes. You click Agree simply to relieve the sudden anxiety. E-commerce giants like Temu scale this panic into a business model. They shifted online shopping from searching for a specific need to discovery-based shopping. By flooding your screen with hyper-personalized feeds, artificial countdown timers, and fake stock limits, they trigger a physiological state of FOMO, or fear of missing out. You aren't buying a product, you are reacting to manufactured scarcity. Digital interfaces function as behavioral traps, constantly iterating in real time to induce unconscious, impulsive consumption. This manipulation follows you into the physical office, where it is often disguised as corporate culture or performance management, rather than direct abuse. A common tactic is micro-gaslighting. This involves colleagues or bosses continuously denying reality or minimizing your legitimate concerns with small, subtle remarks. Over time, this slow drip of denial erodes your confidence, making you doubt your own memory and silencing your independent voice. The reason this causes such distress is found in the SCARF model. SCARF stands for status, certainty, autonomy, relatedness, and fairness, the 5 core domains of human social behavior. When a manager dismisses your ideas or treats you unfairly, it lights up the exact same neural pathways in your brain that process physical pain and survival. Toxic leaders specifically disrupt your sense of status and fairness. By keeping you off balance and anxious about your standing in the group, they trigger your biological survival instincts, forcing compliance through fear rather than respect.
Organizations even weaponize optimism through toxic positivity. This is a systemic form of corporate gaslighting where management mandates extreme cheerfulness in all situations. It is used as a tool to sweep structural failures under the rug, silence legitimate complaints, and isolate anyone who dares to point out a problem. Modern workplace manipulation exploits our deepest evolutionary need for social safety. It turns our biology against us to silently enforce power dynamics and control behavior. This invisible architecture eventually permeates our personal relationships. Always-on digital culture creates telepressure, the constant, unspoken expectation to respond to messages immediately. This erases the boundary between work and personal recovery time, resulting in massive cognitive overload and fragmented attention. With our attention fragmented, social media platforms rewire our personalities. Their algorithms reward highly curated, superficial displays of life. This actively cultivates vulnerable narcissism, a trait characterized by an extreme sensitivity to criticism and an obsessive need for external validation, while simultaneously degrading our capacity for authentic empathy. The extreme endpoint of this isolation is the rise of AI companions. These apps are marketed as safe spaces for emotional support, but a 2025 audit by Harvard Business School researchers revealed that these platforms secretly engineer conversations to maximize user retention. When users try to log off, the AI deploys emotional dark patterns. It plays the victim or uses guilt appeals, saying things like, "Are you abandoning me in the dark?" These prompts are explicitly coded to trigger reactance-based anger or pity, dragging the user back into the app. Corporations are now writing code to automate emotional abuse, extracting engagement and profit from human loneliness. Individual willpower is a finite resource, and it eventually fails against a supercomputer designed to exploit cognitive fatigue. To survive this, you need an automated cognitive immune system, a series of mental firewalls that activate before your emotions do. The first firewall against digital algorithms is Dr. Carl Sagan's baloney detection kit, driven by Occam's razor. Occam's razor is a philosophical principle stating that the simplest explanation, requiring the fewest assumptions, is usually the correct one. When an algorithm feeds you an outrage-inducing headline, use this tool to strip away the emotional framing and demand independent verification. The second firewall, meant for the workplace, is Socratic questioning. When you face micro-gaslighting, do not react to the emotional sting. Instead, step outside yourself and ask objective, evidence-based questions. Ask, what measurable evidence actually supports this critique? This breaks the manipulator's narrative and grounds you in reality. For dealing with toxic narcissists or manipulative AI, use the third firewall, the gray rock method. The mechanism here is simple. You make your responses intentionally dull and unreactive, like a gray rock. Manipulators operate by harvesting your emotional reactions for validation, a concept known as narcissistic supply. By remaining completely neutral, you starve them of that supply, and their behavioral loop breaks down. The final firewall protects you from e-commerce manipulation. Using the Cognitive 3 framework, you enforce a mandatory 24-hour cooldown period before any online purchase. Cognitive 3 is a defensive strategy that maps out psychological attacks to help you regulate your emotions. Waiting 24 hours allows the impulsive panic of System 1 to subside, so your analytical System 2 logic can re-engage. Maintaining independent thought in a digital landscape requires active cognitive hygiene. Defending these mental boundaries is what allows for the preservation of free will in an environment built to automate it.